Welcome back. Hopefully you watched my introduction video covering the Sargon and Akilah lawsuit, including a copy of the clip Sargon is being sued over. In this video, I'm going to give a quick introduction to fair use because the Copyright Act of 1976 lays out 4 specific factors in determining fair use. Additionally, the Supreme Court has ruled that all 4 factors have to be taken into account when determining fair use. I'm therefore going to be making arguments for all of them, so it seems relevant to lay them all out in the beginning. However, if you're already well versed in copyright law and fair use, then feel free to skip to the next video, where I'll start making actual arguments. So as I said, the relevant law in fair use cases is the Copyright Act of 1976, specifically the Title 17, Chapter 1, Section 107, which reads as follows. Notwithstanding the provisions of Sections 106 and 106A, the fair use of a copyrighted work, including such use as reproduction in copies or phonorecords, or by any other means specified by that section, for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research, is not an infringement of copyright. In determining whether the use made of a work in any particular case is a fair use, the factors to be considered shall include 1. The purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is of a commercial nature or is for nonprofit educational purposes. 2. The nature of the copyrighted work. 3. The amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. And 4. The effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. The fact that a work is unpublished shall not itself bar a finding of fair use if such finding is made upon consideration of all the above factors. In relation to this particular case, a couple things stand out at first glance as being either in favor or against Sargon's claim of fair use. Most obviously against is number 3, the amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. Considering that Sargon's video is almost 2 minutes long and Akilah's original video is only 10 minutes long, and that Sargon didn't add any extra content to his video, this could be considered a substantial amount. In the opening paragraph, it also mentions for the purposes such as criticism, comment, and news reporting. Sargon's argument of satire would fall under that criticism and comment umbrella, but since he didn't add any additional content to his version of the video, this is being challenged by Akilah. Finally, Akilah is arguing that this was done for a commercial nature, which carries with it a heavier burden when arguing fair use. In Sargon's favor is obviously number 4, effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. While Akilah is arguing that Sargon's video hurt the potential market and income she could have received for her video, anyone that knows anything about YouTube revenues knows that even if this was true, the damages here would be nominal in comparison to the tens of thousands of dollars she's claiming in damages. Nevertheless, I'll go into detail on this aspect too when I get to it. So that's the basic breakdown of the relevant law regarding fair use. Those 4 factors are what a court will be deciding the argument of fair use on. However, all 4 of those factors are subject to the interpretations presented in a large body of case law and various court decisions. That's what I'll be looking at in upcoming videos. Specifically, how the cases interpreting these factors leads to a much better case for Sargon than most people would think at first glance. However, it's important to note from the outset how these 4 factors are to be looked at in regards to individual cases. As I said in the beginning of the video, the Supreme Court has ruled that all 4 factors must be taken into account. In Campbell v. Acuff Rose Music, they laid it out pretty plainly, stating, "The task is not to be simplified with bright-line rules, for the statute, like the doctrine it recognizes, calls for case-by-case analysis. The text employs the terms including and such as in the preamble paragraph to indicate the illustrative and not limitative function of the examples given, which thus provide only general guidance about the sorts of copying that courts and Congress most commonly had found to be fair use. Nor may the 4 statutory factors be treated in isolation one from another. All are to be explored, and the results weighted together in light of the purposes of copyright." This statement by the Supreme Court is important because people's opinions on this case seem to be resting on whether or not Sargon's work is transformative because he didn't add any commentary. In other words, people are using this bright line rule to determine that Sargon doesn't have a case. Obviously, that will end up being an important crux of this case. However, the extent to which Sargon's video must be deemed transformative is determined by the other factors affecting the case. And specifically, what you might deem to be transformative at first glance isn't necessarily what is considered transformative under the law. In fact, you're probably going to be really surprised to find out how broad the term transformative has been applied in fair use. If you want to find out how I see these arguments playing out, including the indisputable evidence that I believe basically wins Sargon the case, check out my upcoming videos. Also, as I said in my introduction video, this is a brand new channel, and that means these videos making the legal case for Sargon aren't going to show up in anybody's feeds. Obviously, Sargon can't comment on this case too much for legal reasons, and there's a lot of bad information out there that's damaging his reputation. If you think I make a good argument and want to help spread the word, click the subscribe button and share these videos on social media. Thanks. Also, be sure to leave a comment below on your impressions of this case now that you know what the actual law says. Are you convinced that Sargon doesn't have a case, or do you see some light at the end of the tunnel? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.